Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming back to Let's Talk Life with Mark Anthony and Sarah Garvey, or Let's Talk Life with Sarah Garvey and Mark Anthony Abel. It's an absolute pleasure to have him back on the seat again. You know, it's been, you saw, we had a lot to talk about. It was amazing, and I feel honoured. But one of the pertinent questions I think that people posed in the conversations on the comments on YouTube especially was like, Sarah Garvey, the name Garvey. Mm-hmm. Sarah, is that your real name or where does it come from? You related to Garvey, that's what I want to say.
First of all, thanks for having me back.
Yep, I love it.
Yeah, Garvey's a name that I chose for myself.
Okay.
So I'm not related to Marcus Garvey as much as I know, but I would call myself a quote-unquote Garveyite to some degree, is what people call him, or what people are called that follow his, let's say, his ways of empowerment for African people. So that's the reason why I chose the name, and yeah, it stuck.
So it's like a real homage to...
100%. I've read a lot of Garvey's philosophies, and one of the things that people don't know is that without Marcus Garvey, the Ghanaian flag with the black star in it wouldn't be there.
Is it? Okay, interesting.
So Marcus Garvey wrote his philosophy and opinions, right? And Kwame Nkrumah, who was the first president of former Gold Coast, now Ghana, read his philosophy and opinions. And Marcus Garvey had a bunch of ships called the Black Star Line.
Oh yeah,
that was his. That was his ships. And so Kwame Nkrumah really liked the Black Star line, and he put a black star in the Ghanaian flag, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We know what Marcus Garvey did for black people. You know, gave
some of us do. A lot of us don't.
Well, it gave people a lot of pride. Obviously, for me, we have different views on that as well, because obviously I'm always all for. I'm a big thing about. I'm into integration. That's my thing, right? Simple as that. Positive change. I want us all to be together, enjoying life, working together. That's my thing.
Kumbaya, like I said last time.
Whatever you want to say, kumbaya. You think this guy loves this. Don't discredit me, right? You know.
Good.
People say I'm a good person, right? Whatever else, right? But and other than that, in terms of the pride he gave to black people, to elevate black people, especially Jamaicans in the eyes of Americans.
100%.
So, that's it. And like, people always talk about Jamaica as being like one of these key places for, actually encouraging that kind of confidence in every other person. You know what I mean? Every other black person. I don't know what it is. Like the Africans, they, emulate the Jamaicans. Do you know what I mean? You've never heard that before?
I mean, I'll say this. I'd just say for such a small island in the Caribbean,
exactly.
It's had a lot of influence over the world. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knows Jamaica. Jamaican people are known. Jamaican music's known. Bob Marley's known. Usain Bolt's known. Like, for such a small island of, I think it's like 3 million people or something, 3.5 million people, for them to have such an influence over the world, I think is amazing. I think that's testament to the type of people, I guess, Jamaican people are really. Do you know what I mean? To have such an influence.
But it's not all been positive.
Go on.
Just go on. Look, I love, seriously, everyone. I've been to Jamaica. I love Jamaica. When I go to Jamaica, I see the faces and they remind me of my face, all right? And there's people of all shades and colours in Jamaica, all right? And there's a lot of positive things in Jamaica. We see the way kind of like the government's set up and everything else. We've got our own prime minister. We manage stuff. We manage ourselves effectively, and we're independent. But what's kind of transcended towards the UK, or and so even in the when I was a kid, people talk about the Yardies, and the Yardies were the most feared group of black people, and they were feared because of what the type of things they would do, right? How violent they were. So that's not all positive. And do you remember Army Way when we were growing up? Do you remember Army Way, the area Army Way? Do you remember how people, Army Way? Everyone will know. If you know Army Way, it was a place where we used to go. People would go and buy a drawer back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And the Yardies used to run it.
Right.
Until they got pushed out by the police.
Right.
So there was certain elements, and obviously Patois and some certain elements of that kind of street culture is, the negative aspects of that are kind of another issue that we see within the black community. Like, for example, you see that kind of where people speak today, right? And the kind of, people that they're influenced by. It's American gangster culture, and it's also from the Jamaican yardie culture as well.
Well, that's what I said about black people last time. I said that, you know, black people are the only people who take their underworld and push it to the surface and then say, this is what it means to be black. Albanians have got an underworld, Russians have got an underworld, Italians have got an underworld, Japanese, Chinese, everyone's got an underworld, but black people seem to push their underworld to the surface and then say this is what it means to be black. And like I said, you see it with a lot of the culture that goes on today. And it's something that I've said, if black peoples don't start separating themselves from these types of peoples and calling them out, right? These are the types of peoples that will quote unquote take over the culture or what it means to be black. I'm not saying that these people need to be killed or anything like that, because they exist in all societies. Doesn't matter where you go. My thing is, they can't be the ones that have the loudest voice. They cannot be the one that has the loudest voice. And I think right now, the people that are the most uncouth, the people that are the most uneducated, the one of the most ignorant, are the ones with the loudest voices, specifically within the black community in the West.
Absolutely. And, you know, I mean, look, from what I can see, if we're looking at the numbers of, in terms of the, look, forget it, I want to go on something else. We're on the same subject, but I want to go into what it really impacts me. Have you seen what's happened within events recently? The
Yes.
Sands,
Yes.
what's the other, Pop, Brixton Pop, the one up in Crystal Palace, all been shut down because of crowd rushing.
So
What's behind that, do you think?
first of all, I'd say one of the most dangerous places you can be is in a crowd. And one of the most dangerous things you can do is to follow a crowd. And I remember, but going back to COVID, right? This is how, for me, I think about groupthink, right? And the way peoples are socialized when they get into a group setting.
You talk about people and everybody, or just something
people specifically, that people. I personally don't trust people.
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean groups of people, I don't trust them. And the reason why is, if you go back to COVID, right? People that lived in the same area, knew the same people, would see the same people every day, were told that there was this virus. So what happened is, the group started to think individually, right? And so once the group thinks individually, everyone goes crazy. People were in Tesco fighting over toilet paper.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Mark Anthony, people, now, this is what I'm trying to say. When you see groups of people, I've got a thing about groups of people. I don't trust them. When something happens within the group, everyone starts to act a certain way. It's as if it's this kind of drug and everyone gets addicted to it and everyone starts to act in that certain way. And I'm like, hang on a minute. I remember going back to COVID and I'm like, hang on a minute. I started doing the math in my head, right? I'm like, there's water and there's soap. What is tissue used for? Is to wipe your, if you do it number 2. I'm like, hang on, has soap and water gone out of? And there's no more soap and water? Because worst comes to worst, if you've got no toilet paper, you can wash your ass. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can wash it. Why is it that everyone went crazy for toilet paper?
Because I think people just think that they're missing out. People don't
Groupthink.
No one wants to feel that they're missing out on anything.
But this is the thing, when you saw the whole thing that happened with Sands, right? It's just a group thing, group behavior. When a group starts to do something, everyone starts to do it. There's a panic, there's a rush, I don't trust groups of people. I really don't. So when I see that, I'm like, well, yeah, that's what would happen.
Yeah, but we don't encourage individuality. We don't talk about individuality. We see individuality as a negative.
100%, because I would say that I'm a free thought individual. I would say I'm an individual type of thinker, right? And when you're the person that tells the truth is the person that has the least friends, right? That's the person that has the least friends, because groups are easy. When the group thinks a certain way, you can feel like you're part of the group, you're part of the just sheep, the crowd, right? And then you can move with them, and some people find comfort in groups. That's why you look at all kinds of people. Government's a group. Labour, Conservative, Christian, Muslim, Jew, like everyone's in groups. But what happens is, when you have a individual mindset and you think outside of that, you're now a threat to the group. And that's how the group see you. People will see me as a threat sometimes, not because I want to do anything.
Yeah, we talked about it last time.
Do you know what I mean? But because, hang on a minute, why are you thinking differently? What's going on with you? Are you okay? Oh my God, look at what he's doing. Look at what he's saying. Right? All of a sudden I'm a threat. And it's like, that's very interesting, because groups of people, like I said, I don't trust them. If you go back in history, most Germans thought it was okay to burn the Jews. It's a group of people. Most British thought it was okay to enslave black people, groups of people. Groups of people are very dangerous if they got the wrong ideology in their head.
There's power in numbers.
There's power in numbers, but there's also ignorance in numbers.
Yeah, because what it is, well, from what I've experienced, my experience in gangs is that I think the weakest. Funny you're saying that, because I also found that even the weakest person in that group sometimes was trying to influence, the decisions that I was making. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So you might have someone who you deem to be the weakest. Physically weakest, whatever, he's the one who needs to hide behind everybody. But at the same time, he's trying to make sure that he's trying to infiltrate ideas into the group to get me to do certain things. And
is that because he wants to be more part of the group?
I think it's more about influencing. It's about that kind of weasel mentality. Do you know what I mean?
Right, okay.
He's not really strong. He can't do it that way. He's going to find a way to kind of introduce stuff into it. So people, not everyone's always just following the group. Sometimes people are trying to influence the group from within.
True.
So that's a little bit something else to think about. And they're not always the strongest person in that group. It's not always the strongest person in the group doing that a lot of the time.
Like I said, I've just got a problem with groups of people. I really do. That's why I created my clan. Like I spoke about last time.
How do we go about changing that mindset, though? Because obviously you're talking about
what mindset? Group mindset.
Group mindset. How do you, dude? We just had an event at Crystal Palace. I spent years, a year trying to influence Crystal Palace, the Bromley Council, to have more of these events and to allow me to put on a peace event. Right. That never happened. I'm not going to that. But they eventually got to the point when he did it. And all these events happening. I was over the moon to see that they were actually doing live events there. Right. And now we're seeing potentially the end of that particular event happening in Crystal Palace just because of these incidents. How do we change this?
You can't. The thing is, to me, I always go to the bottom line, and people don't like it, right? The bottom line is you can't change groups of people thinking a certain way.
It's happening, dude. It doesn't happen in. I go to events all the time.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence that this doesn't happen in the rock events that I go to, or to the live events I go to all up and down the country. I go all over England to watch bands. I have never seen that happen for the last how many years? It happens at the carnival. It's happening within the black community, especially.
Black people don't like each other.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Why don't we like each other, bro?
Black people don't like each other, and it's shown within the attitudes and the behaviours that we act out towards each other. Generally, I would say in the West.
So honest, man. I love that about you.
Listen, black people don't like each other, right? And so, because they don't like each other, this is why there were people at those events that did like videos afterwards, right? And they were talking about how they were trampled and they thought they were going to lose their life, and they were screaming for their life, and the women were like, please just stop, could you stop, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, we're just going to do it. Black people generally don't like each other. I said some of the worst people that have looked at me on the street have been from black people. And I'm like, I don't even know you, bro. What is this disdain that you got in your heart for me? And so when you look at, some of the crime and stuff and what happens with the crime, you say to yourself...
Intraracial.
Intraracial.
Yeah, nearly 90%
of crime is intraracial.
Yeah.
Meaning that it's white on white, Chinese on Chinese, black on black.
The highest number in the black community.
Yeah, because black people don't like it, but black people have been taught to hate each other. They've been taught to. You don't
think we can end that conditioning? Because look, brother, I can show you something right now. Whereas I kind of say black people, the nature of black people. I'm going to read something out very quickly. This is from Up From Slavery, because I find it really important to understand. This is kind of I kind of read, and so what people talk about slavery, there are very different stories of slavery and ideas around slavery. Booker T. Washington is saying they were anxious. I'll give you a bit of a scenario. This is when the war, the war to free the slaves, like the war of the South.
Yeah, yes. Do you mean the civil?
Yeah, civil war.
Okay.
They were just as anxious to assist in the nursing of the family relatives of the wounded. So black slaves were just as anxious to assist in the nursing of the soldiers who were literally fighting to keep them in slavery, right?
Right.
But they basically, anyway, it's the nature of them.
White soldiers.
Yes, white
Right,
soldiers.
okay.
So some of the slaves would even beg for the privilege of sitting up at night to nurse their wounded masters. This tenderness and sympathy on the part of those held in bondage was a result of their kindly and generous nature. In order to defend and protect the women and children who were left on the plantations when the white males went to war, the slaves would have laid down their lives. So the slaves would lay down lives. So conditioning. So I mentioned this because I want to talk about conditioning. It's about being taught to think a certain way. So now,
there's a book called The Miseducation of the Negro, by W.E.D. Du Bois.
Oh yeah, I read that.
The Miseducation of the Negro, and in it he says that because of the conditioning of the quote-unquote Negro, right? Negroes were used to go into the big house via the back door. They weren't allowed to go in via the front door, right? And he's actually said something that was quite funny. He said, if there's no back door, a Negro will build a back door and then go through it, because he knows that much that he's not allowed in through the front door. And so a conditioning in the Americas has been done to black people. I said a lot of black people in America won't like it, but it's not my words. There's a woman by the name of Dr. Joy Leary. Okay. She is a psychologist, black psychologist in America, American black woman. And she talks about post-traumatic slave syndrome. That's what she calls it, post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? And essentially, black people in America were taken, think of it like Frankenstein. You know, like Frankenstein would take the arm from this place and the leg from this place and the head from this place. And they were created into what they are.
What's the form of eugenics, Kobe?
They're severed from what they were. You see, the black people on the continent of Africa, they still, even though they were colonized and enslaved on their continent, they still, because they were in their continent, they got to hold on to some remnants of their culture, their language, their foods, stuff like that, right? So they, even though they were colonized, they weren't totally severed from who they were. The black American is severed from who they were and then cultivated and created into this being. So they don't have a natural language. Their language is the language of the person that created them. Do you get what I'm saying? They don't have a natural religion. Their religion is the religion of the person that created them. They don't have everything that they have has been cultivated by the people that created them.
Okay, but we're all,
so when you talk about miseducation, they're not miseducated. They're educated in the way that the people that created them to be educated by. How? The fear was educated into them. The violence educated into them. Everything was educated into them via the people that cultivated them. So they're not miseducated. They're educated. They are moving along the exact line that they're supposed to move down, because the people that created them that way created them for them to be like this.
So they are completely. So just no disrespect to Americans.
No, it's not disrespect.
So in other words, it's like you're saying that they're completely lost. Unless they follow that trajectory, and they continue on that trajectory.
They're completely.
But how do they go from being the person that was, protecting the master and supporting and being, come back as the wounded, looking after them, to the person that now is so anti-white and the hatred towards white people?
Black people don't hate white people.
You don't think that's the case?
They say they do, but they don't. And this is where I get controversial, right? If black people hated white people, if they really hated them, they would treat them the same way that they were treated. They don't. They love them. So what happens when a white person? They love them.
I don't hate white people.
No, I'm not talking. I don't hate white people. But when you said that,
from America.
But you said that they hate them, and I'm saying they don't hate them. They love them. But
there's definitely anti-whiteness. There's definitely no man.
Let me tell you something.
I see it, dude. I got tons of. Dude. If I have to put this stuff online, of like people on TikTok talking about, this, almost the disdain for white.
It's lip service. It's lip service. It's not.
God's sake, man.
Mark Anthony.
What's going on?
Mark Anthony. If I hated you, which I don't, bro, right? I would do something to you. If I hated you, I can say, "Oh, you see that Mark Anthony? He's a this. He's a this. He's a blah. He's a blah blah." It's lip service. You used to be in a gang. If someone's talking about doing something, what's worse? Someone talking about doing something or someone doing something?
someone doing something.
Right. So because people can talk all the time. Did you hear that someone said this about you? Whatever he said was so. They don't really hate you, because if they really hated you, bro, they do something to you, bro. So this is what I'm trying to say. Black people don't hate white people.
Thank God they didn't hate me that much.
No, but they're just talking. So I'm saying black people in the Western world,
and we hate each other though.
Because they do. That's what I'm trying to say. We do things to each other.
No, 6 times. No, in America, it's 6 times more likely to kill a black, some foreign race than a white person. And in the UK, it's 4 times. We're 4 times more likely to kill a black person than we'll kill anybody else.
Like I said, because we.
Not that I don't want anyone. Please don't go and kill anyone.
But this is what I'm trying to say. We do things to each other, which shows the hate. So you can say, "Oh, I hate you," and it's like, well, that's just lip service, because you ain't showing me that you hate me. When you hate someone, you do something to them. You don't just talk about not liking them. So this is why I said black people love white people. Black people, I know you're a Christian, but black people worship a white man in the sky.
Yeah, but don't.
So they don't. They don't.
Look at this guy. Christian. Look at this.
They don't hate white people. They love them. Black women say they don't like white women, but they've got their hair on their head every day. They wear their hair. They don't hate them. There's a thin line between love and hate. They love them. A lot of them want to be them. So
is that what kind of makes up for that? What you're saying there makes me think, well, is this what's behind that kind of colorism thing and is that like a form of jealousy towards light-skinned people then?
Of course it is, because black people are the only people systematically for hundreds of years that were told that their dark skin is bad. They were the only people that were told that the way their nose looks is bad. They were the only people that were told for hundreds of years that their hair is bad. So what's that going to do to your self-confidence?
It's a form of, was it body dysmorphia?
It's going to give you body dysmorphia. That's why black people are bleaching. They're throwing on wigs. They're now doing nose jobs. Right? They don't hate white people, they love them. Because if you didn't love them, you wouldn't be trying to emulate them. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's backwards. When I keep saying that, people think it's a joke, because then you laugh. But I'm like, no, they're not showing hate, they're showing love.
It's interesting that you basically have come to that conclusion, because I don't think people are very honest enough or capable of actually recognising that.
Right.
And that's the issue, because you've got to be honest, and that's what I love talking to you, because I think that very few people I'm going to speak to are going to be honest. And
that's probably it's my gift and my curse, is me being so honest.
Yeah, but it's a deep fear, and I think, but once we get to that point as black people, we understand we have to be honest, just be honest about stuff, then we will be able to undo the conditioning.
Did you grow up in the time where black men are saying, "Oh, I want a lighty, I want a light-skinned girl"? Because I did. I've never been, no respect to everyone, I've never been into light-skinned girls. No, but I'm saying... And I ain't nothing bad about it, I just not. No, I'm saying... much like me. I'm not talking about you. I'm saying, did you grow up in an era where black men were saying, "Oh, I want a light-skinned girl"? Because I did. Okay. I did, right? So anything closer to whiteness, I don't think, means it's more beautiful. Now, I don't have a problem with that, because you're in the West. So the West standard of beauty is probably going to be the one that you're going to adhere to, because you're in the West. So Western women, blonde hair, blue eyes, blah, 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 is going to be looked upon as the standard of beauty. I don't have a problem with that, because I'm living here. If I was living in Africa, the standard of beauty might be different. But I'm living here. Black people consistently, both the men and the women, are consistently showing that they love white people. They don't hate them. They're trying to emulate their hairstyle. They're trying to emulate their nose. They're trying to get rid of the darkness in their skin. The men are trying to go for lighter or whiter women a lot of the time, right? And I'm saying, listen, you don't hate, you love. Because the people that you do hate is the other black people. That's the ones that you really try to kill and unalive and, disrespect. And like I said, and worship. Do you know? Yeah, possibly. Maybe you're saying I can't disagree with anything you're saying. I have to prove it. I can't show that proof of that. You can disagree though. Yeah, but I don't know enough to be able to disagree. I know what I know about how I feel, but I can't say that's the same for other people. Right. I'm sure there are people who are like, I've got to date a white woman, and that's where they're going. They want their kids to be mixed race. Yeah. It was the opposite for me. But I don't want to disrespect my wishes. It was the opposite for me. I literally wanted my kids to be darker, so they wouldn't have to go through what I went through. No, I mean, I grew up. I remember I was seeing this lady, another Jamaican, lighter skinned Jamaican at one point in time, and she said to me, "Oh, her grandma. She remembers her grandma." pinching the nose of her grandchildren to try and make sure their nose is straighter. Oh, you don't want their nose too wide, blah 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 blah, and all that type of stuff. Like I said,
that's because serious crazy
because the standard of beauty is white. So that's when I say people don't hate black people. Don't hate white people. If black people hated white people, do you know what you'd have? You'd have sleeper cells of black people plotting and planning and scheming to kill white people. That's what hate would do. Because we know who the sleeper cells are. We know what countries they come from. We know what religion they are. They're the ones that really hate people. Black people don't hate.
So this
black people don't hate white people.
I love what you're saying, but obviously, I want to. You mentioned about a woman, someone's grandmother doing that to a grandchild, right? Now, how much influence? Because I'm just my head's just ticking and thinking about stuff, and I'm thinking about I don't ever like to go after women, all right? Because they're fairer sex. I don't generally want to like to go after women, full stop. But there's so much I'm starting to look at, and please, women, please don't get the wrong idea about this, because we have to be honest. There's such a strong influence within, from the fairer sex, who are in many ways, I think, impacting a lot of the behaviour of
men.
Absolutely.
In what way?
Well, in many ways. I mean, if I think about when I was a kid, right, a lot of the things that I did, because I was a very innocent kid, right? I won't lie about it. I got into fights and all kind of stuff. But I wasn't really into girls at that point. I was just more into just like going to school and doing whatever, right? I wasn't driven towards it. But when I started going more, people were saying, "Oh, girls," and I got involved in girls. I realised a lot of the things I was doing is driven by the influence of the girls around me. So the girls were smoking, girls were drinking, and I was getting dragged more into these things, and then being brought out into areas where I would have probably never gone, or got into collisions and issues with guys. It was always centered around girls. Everything was centered around girls. Take that equation out, it's not a problem. If you look at the Muslim community, they kind of, wrong word to use, but they manage their girls in a certain way, so they don't go out, they don't mix with other people, so they never have that kind of stress or worry or concerns. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Does that make sense what I'm saying to you?
I hear you, but I don't agree.
Okay.
And the reason why I don't agree is because when you look at those types of communities, a lot of the women are screaming to get out of that type of situation. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, it may look like that from the outside.
Exactly. So what the point? But no, you are agreeing with me. So what you're saying is that those women actually want to be able to be in that, experiencing certain things and enjoying life to its fullest and things like that. Women that I was around, no disrespect to those women, because you're probably going to come back to me, right?
The comment section is going to be mad. Like, he hates women.
I don't hate women at all. I'm just looking at the links. I'm saying, I'm thinking about how gangs and kids today and the stuff they get into and the places they go.
Right.
And as myself when I was an artist on stage, I would perform. My audience was predominantly girls. Guys would come into those gigs for one reason only.
For the girls.
Come for the girls. They weren't coming because they wanted to listen to my music. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So girls kind of dictate a lot of what men do.
I would say, yeah. I would listen. I can't disagree with that.
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
Violent actions, guys being very violent towards other guys. If girls said, "You know what, I'm not going to tolerate that behaviour," the chances are those guys will change. They'd fix up.
Yeah, because guys are hunters, aren't they? And they're hunting for women, really, essentially, right? And wherever the women are, they're going to be going there.
Women are into.
Exactly. Because they want it. I think what I'm seeing now is a lot of guys are becoming softer in the fact that because women are becoming more quote unquote harder, masculine, guys are like, okay, cool, she now likes that. And I think a lot of guys are losing themselves now in women. Okay. Everything's about women. So if you look at like the OnlyFans, women can now literally just go online, create an OnlyFans account and become a millionaire from showing that their body and doing all. And it's just like, because the guys can't the audience is guys. It's not girls that are, it's like, guys, are you that desperate to be in and around women or see women that you just make them a millionaire? So, and this woman wouldn't even pee on you if you're on fire.
Yeah,
she wouldn't care.
It's all about the attention, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about just, they want someone, because girls wouldn't give them that attention now. It's very hard to get, dude, my wife is my wife, she's busy, right? I'm busy. It's very hard to get, especially when you start having children, it's very hard to get that attention. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Guys, there's validation and attention, right? When someone gives you attention, you feel validated, right? Someone doesn't give you that attention, you feel, what's going on? So there's a lot of that. I think it's a lot to do with that.
There's a book that I read called, and I advise every man to read it. It's called The Way of the Superior Man. I was actually put onto the book by Nipsey Hussle. I remember watching a Nipsey Hussle.
Is that the guy who passed away?
Yeah, the rapper that passed away. I remember watching a Nipsey Hussle interview, and he spoke about it. And I don't know why. I was like, he's speaking quite highly of this book. Let me go and see what it's about. And I advise every man to read it. It's by a guy called David Dida. It's called Way of the Superior Man, and it basically shows men how they should be within themselves, with women, relationships, children, blah blah blah, whatever it is. It shows them, and crazily, this year, a couple of months ago, I went to Eritrea, and Nipsey Hussle's from Eritrea, and I brought the book with me to Eritrea, and I was reading it when I was in Eritrea. Who was I eventually sitting down at the bar with, having a drink with, talking?
Not Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle's dad.
You're kidding me? Wow.
It was crazy. I was sitting down talking to Nipsey Hussle's dad. I was like, this is a bit weird. But all I'm going to say is that book is essential for men.
Wow.
If men want to know about women and the women's influence and how they should kind of see women, I advise every man to read that book. I think it's an
how they
amazing
should carry themselves, how not to get
all of that,
up,
their
hung up and
purpose,
stuff like that.
not how, the whole thing, how to be more stoic sometimes.
Women don't like that. If you give them too much attention,
No.
it goes the other way for them.
The thing is, women say they want attention, but they don't really.
But that's what I'm trying to say to you. That's the whole point of what's driving it. It's lots of. I just think a lot of the behaviours of women, sadly to say, drives a lot of the behaviours in men.
Switching, let me ask you a question. Yeah? Same subject, but different. As a man, what would you say is the harshest lesson that you've had to learn as a man?
That when things happen, bad things happen, you know what I mean, you're on your own. You got to be the one to make sure that you manage and deal with stuff, and you know, I think that's got to be the one for me.
That you're on your own.
Yeah, you realise in life that you're on your own.
The thing is similar to me, similar, but mine is, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you're able to negotiate.
Okay.
And that is something that I learned, because there's a lot of people who you think...
You've got to work for it.
You don't, it's not even, it's just about negotiation. Because there are people that have done really good things and you think, so that guy deserves X and doesn't get it. And then there are people that have got stuff and you're like, how did he get... He was able to negotiate. If he has leverage and you gain leverage, you're now able to negotiate. So any person who thinks that they deserve something, that's when I realized I don't deserve anything. No one does. You just get what you're able to negotiate. And some people negotiate better. Some people got more leverage.
And it's,
right?
That's a transactional world, then, isn't it? Then.
But I'm saying I said it's a harsh lesson. It's a lesson that I learned.
It's a cold lesson.
It's a cold lesson. You're like, no, but I've done all this. I deserve that. But bro, you don't deserve anything. And that brings me on to something that I was speaking about, because I was listening to talk about black people again. They were talking about reparations. And I said, I think black people deserve reparations.
Okay.
But you ain't going to get it. And the reason why you're not going to get it is because you're not able to negotiate. There's nothing you can negotiate. We don't have any leverage. So the people that you want reparations from, or say you want it from, what are you going to do to get it? Well, ask. I mean, come on. Like, if it was about asking, they would have given it back to you, right?
He's giving me. I've got a moment. I think maybe noticed, guys. Right now, my brain's going boom.
You would have gotten it, right?
Of course.
If I just slap you in your face and take your wallet, and then you're like, oh, please give it back, and I say, get the hell out of my face. You can ask to the cows come home. I told you, you're not getting your wallet back. However, if you gain something to negotiate with to get it back, then you're in a different position. And that's why I said, when it comes to reparations, I think black people deserve it. Because everyone else got the reparations. Jews got reparations, Japanese got reparations. Everyone got reparations, right?
And that's, that in itself gives you a strong case.
What are you going to negotiate with? Black people don't have to negotiate.
But think, why didn't they give us reparations? That's the question.
What did I say last time? I said to understand the environment that you're in. Don't hate people, because I don't hate anyone. You just have to understand the environment that you're in. The people that are supposedly going to give you reparations, you have to look at if they do, how does it impact them? If the European nations that gained trillions out of slavery and colonization was to all of a sudden give trillions back to black people, how would it impact Europe, do you think?
Oh, very negatively.
Right, so then what's their motivation to do it?
Exactly, but there you go. So that's one of the reasons. But another thing is...
So they're asking why they get it, because what's the motivation?
Yeah, but you're talking about the fact that we deserve it, right? But when you think about, for me, when I look at people who have wealth, and people might argue with this, but again, maybe that's the Christian in me, whatever you want to call it, right? When I see black people that have wealth, and I think, why have you got all this money and you're not actually doing something to help people of colour with that money? It's like they get all that wealth and they buy a Bentley. They buy. I mean, you might people say, well, they have a right to buy a Bentley, but why are you competing? I wouldn't. I don't know. I could never do it. I get that money. Man, there's got to be ways to distribute some of that money within the black community or people that need that money. That's how I look at this, at having wealth as a person of colour. Not that I don't deserve it, not that I have no right to having wealth, but it's like, well, dude, we've suffered so much. How can I now go and show off? Do you know, sometimes I can't do it. It's not something that I could do. So I question. So reparations, they're probably sitting there thinking, well, what black people going to do with their money? What are they going to do when you give them that money? Some guys are going to go buy this, some guys are going to buy that. They're not going to use it and build businesses. They're not going to build wealth and generational wealth for their families.
I think you got a point. I think if you're going to get money, you need to know what you're going to do with it. Do you know what I mean? However, if I owe you money, me worrying about how you're going to spend the money really shouldn't be my concern. Do you know what I mean? It's your money.
Yeah, but it's about conditioning, right? These so-called people have conditioned us, so they understand us, they know what we're going to do and what kind of decisions we're going to make, blah, 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 if that's what the case. Even though we're not of that, clearly we're not the same as that. Because somehow we've found a way outside of that mould.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't sit down wanting reparations. I'm not that type of person. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I just don't want it because I think, well, I believe we can achieve stuff right now, here, together. I've spoken to you, you've given me tips on stuff, you know, I've shown you things. That alone that's the benefit that we get from just talking to each other.
But that's why I, champion people like Ibrahim Traore, because the bottom line is Africa's got resources that they need to own, and the best way to get yourself out of situations is to own stuff, and use the stuff that you own to, forward yourself on this social economic ladder in the system that you find yourself in. Amazing. Sitting around waiting for stuff, I don't think that's a progressive way of doing things. Like I said, even though I think you deserve it, I don't think you're going to get it. And that's just my view. Now, listen, I'm open to being wrong. Tomorrow, the governments of the West could be like, we're going to give 700 trillion back to black people. I'll be like, oh, wow, amazing. So I'm open to being wrong. If I'm wrong, it's not like a bad thing. Do you know what I mean? 700, however much it is 700 trillion, 700 trillion. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Hey.
I think black people need more repair psychologically than they do. I think they need more repair psychologically.
Yeah, and that's, guys, everyone, that's a shocking thing to accept in the black community based on what we're seeing. And this is, don't get me wrong, people can have excuses all day long for what's going on out there, and a lot of people do pander. I think another thing that's preventing black people from actually progressing is there's a lot of pandering.
When you say pandering to who?
When I say pandering is
in what sense?
So certain things happen, everyone says, oh, yeah, they're bound to do this. Of course, don't worry, it's fine. We understand that that's what black people do. So it's like there's almost an acceptance of that behaviour instead of expecting a little bit more from us. And I think... What
do you mean? We should expect more from ourselves, or?
No, I'm talking about our white allies.
Right, okay.
Who'd be saying things like, because I see online a lot of people, talking, and some people, there's lots of negative response to stuff, the behaviour that happens at these events, right? Or the carnival, scared of the carnival.
Yeah.
But there are also people that are just like, well, you know what, whenever these things happen, there is an excuse for those things to happen. But a life's been taken. There's always an excuse, in defence of the behaviour, as if we can't actually get out of this condition, as if we're not deserving of more than that, and that's the thing. And I think that once we are hard on ourselves and accept that, we can do better than that, we are capable of doing better than that, that's when it changes. So we shouldn't always accept when people, in the defence that they're offering us, some of that defence is actually not enabling us to achieve more for ourselves. That's what I'm trying to say, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Earlier on, you were talking about why do black people hate themselves? And
I think you answered it quite articulately.
no, but there's something that I want to say, right? Miseducation. Last time I was here, I spoke to you about Africans' first enslaver being the Muslim Arab, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I would say black people hate themselves is because they don't know their history. They don't know what happened. They don't have a rebuttal to misinformation when it's put out there about them. And so it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm just that then. So what I want to speak about, is there's a trope that's gone around since I was young. And it says, oh, Africans sold Africans into slavery. That's why slavery happened, because you guys sold yourselves. Right? Now, being someone who has studied history, it's an absolute nonsense. And I'll tell you why it's an absolute nonsense.
That we sold ourselves?
That we sold ourselves. It's absolute, it's wrong. It's wrong, it's a misnomer. History is written by the people that that win, right? So, what I'm gonna say is everything that I'm gonna say, fact check it. Don't believe what I'm saying, just fact check it, because this is what I studied. So, there's a guy, a Portuguese sailor called Antam Gonçalves. Antam Gonçalves was a Portuguese sailor in the 1400s. He sailed to Africa. And when he sailed to Africa, he found that the Muslim Arabs had already had Africans enslaved. This is in 1400s. Now, the Muslim Arabs has enslaved Africans from the...
You're talking about the Portuguese guy, right?
The Portuguese sailor.
Yeah, that's right.
I've read about sailed to Africa.
And he saw... Exactly.
He saw... that
they're different slaves.
They've got them enslaved here
because they had white slaves, which they kept running away.
Who did?
The Portuguese had white slaves that kept running away
in Portugal.
Yeah,
right.
And they couldn't identify. Obviously, they were, because they looked exactly the same as them. They would just put on the clothes and leave. Right.
So when he came there and he saw that the Muslim Arabs had them enslaved, he took some back to Portugal.
That's right.
Right. And gave them to the royal family and blah, blah, blah. Subsequently, this is the 1400s, but Arabs had already had black people enslaved from 639 to 642 with a Rashidun Caliphate, right? So they've been enslaving for 700 years before the Portuguese came. So when he kept on going back and forth to Africa, and by 1455, I keep telling people, 1455, Pope Nicholas V of the Roman Catholic Church wrote a decree and a papal bull to tell the Portuguese it's okay to go enslave African people. It wasn't Africans selling Africans into slavery. It was a Muslim Arab who already had them, and then the Portuguese writing into a decree that Africans can now be enslaved by the Portuguese, and subsequently all the other European nations got involved after that.
I hear what you're saying, but I think what you're missing though is the fact that there were black Muslims at that point in time in Africa, and they were effectively catching the slaves for the Arabs.
So, great point. Enslaving Africans for 700 years, you're going to get black Africans who are now Muslim, who see other Africans as just a kafir. They don't see him as the brother or sister.
And that's been the that's the conditioning thing once.
Right, you're not even, I don't care, you're not Muslim, you're a kafir, right? You're an infidel, you're an unbeliever, you're a non-believer, you don't believe in it. So what has happened is that during the European version of slavery, after the Portuguese came, certain Africans were co-opted into working with the Europeans, just like other Africans were co-opted into working with the Muslim Arab. Right? That is not Africans. The reason for slavery is because Africans sold Africans. Because if you read a book called
African Muslims sold Africans.
Hang on. Muslims sold Africans. This is what I keep telling people about Cerberus. I was saying to you about Cerberus, but we'll talk about it later. But what
we mentioned it.
What I'm trying to say is that if you look at a book called Hitler's Jewish Soldiers, there's a guy called Brian Mark Rigg, a historian called Brian Mark Rigg. Yeah, he wrote a book called Hitler's Jewish Soldiers. You will find that 100,000 Jewish soldiers were in Hitler's army, going against Jewish people. Now,
I didn't know that.
It would be stupid of me to say, Oh, well, the Holocaust happened because the Jewish people. That would be stupid. Even though there were 100,000 Jewish soldiers with Hitler to go and get Jews, because when you think about it, who's going to know where Jews are? Jews. Who's going to know where they are? Who's going to know where black people are? Black people, right? So people can get co-opted, but it would be silly of me to say, oh, the reason for the Holocaust is because Jewish people helped Hitler. That would be silly, because Hitler had a plan. He organized it, he maintained it, he knew what he was going to do. Same thing with slavery. The Europeans organized it, maintained it, knew what they were going to do. If they co-opted a couple of Africans or a couple thousand Africans, right, then so be it. But to act as if the reason for slavery is because other Africans done it, it makes no sense when we have the papal bull from the actual Roman Catholic Church saying, yeah, go and get those Africans. It doesn't make sense.
So I don't know if I'm going off topic there, but something you said there that was reminding me of something that happened. You know slavery in Jamaica and the Caribbean?
Yeah.
You know, apparently from what I've learned is that large percentage of the slavers were Jewish.
Yeah.
But because they came from European countries like Scotland and England and others, they went by their nation's title rather than the actual their religion, right? So that was just a thing that was missed out of history.
Because a lot of the ships were owned by Jewish people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they were merchants, they were all the companies. So
without that, the slave trade wouldn't have happened anyway. But these are little things of oversights that they've.
This is what I'm trying to say about. And okay, sorry, that now you're making my brain spot now. That brings me to the Palestine-Israel conflict, right? In the Palestine-Israel conflict, I'm just going to ask you. You can answer or not answer. Do you take a side?
Oh God's sake.
You don't have to answer.
Do you know what? I find it difficult to take a side, and that's people will say, why not? It's for me on both sides. It's based on the history, based on everything. I think there's so much. There's nothing you cannot rationalise the deaths of innocent young people,
children, yeah,
and things like that, who are being conditioned into terrorism and whatever else, right? But at the same time, I think that both seem to have. They've gone so far now into the cruelty that's normalised in their for the Palestinians, the cruelty towards the Jews and the Jews' cruelty towards Palestinians. I can't take a side. I just think it's just inhumane on both sides of it.
Let me tell you why I don't take a side. As again, because I study history. You can go to the oldest hadith of Islam. You see Jew versus Muslim, because this is what it is basically. It's Jew versus Muslim.
And do the Jews hate the Muslims or the Muslims hate the Jews?
They hate each other.
Okay.
Right?
God,
one says
it's Cerberus, isn't it?
See, we're coming back to it now, aren't we?
Cerberus.
Right? So we go to the Jews say, oh, this land was promised to us by God 3,000 years ago. The Muslims say, oh, this part of the land, this is where Muhammad rose into heaven from here, blah, 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 right? If we go back to the oldest hadith of Islam, you will find Muhammad ordering the beheading of 600 Jews. This is 1,400 years ago.
Wow.
Right? If you fast forward to the World War II, fact check everything I'm saying. The Grand Mufti al-Husseini of Jerusalem, Arab Muslim, aligned with Hitler. Right?
Oh yeah, I've read certain things.
To go at the Jews.
It's crazy,
right?
yeah.
Whole Arab, Hitler is a racist. He doesn't like Arabs, but the Grand Mufti aligned with him so we can go to the Jews and told him that they have a common enemy, right? And then now we have what's going on with Israel. Sorry, I think my mic's going. We're going on with Israel and Palestine. These two groups of people have been going at each other for 1,400 years, Mark Anthony.
And we're just in the middle of it. And now it's spread into the West and it's spread into everything.
Whose side am I taking in a 1,400-year-old beef?
So it's like they've dragged us all into
Everyone's getting dragged into Cerberus's fight.
Conflict. And, and like to the point now we're just, everything about our society is about, I mean, you can't walk down the streets without seeing the Palestinian flag or something being said or or a sign now. It used to be, you'd have graffiti on the wall. Now you have Free Gaza everywhere. But it's like, what does it even mean? What does it even mean, Free Gaza?
If we go to Palestine, This is another reason why I don't take sides. You go to Palestine right now, there is a town called Al Abid in Palestine. Do you know what Al Abid means? Do you know,
yes, slave.
It means a slave town.
Yeah,
the
slave
town of
town.
slaves. Do you know who occupied that town?
Black Palestinians.
Black people. Treated bad, right? There's like 15,000 of them in this town in Palestine called the town of slaves. And they treat them bad. That's in Palestine. If you juxtapose it and go to Israel, and you go to Operation Moses, what happened in the 90s, where they took black Jews, black Ethiopian Jews from Sudan, because of the war, they took them to Israel, right? Those Jews were then used as like maids and workers, basic slaves, right? And then
in the Jews,
black Ethiopian Jews.
Yeah, I think
right.
Yeah, I didn't know how they were treated, but
they called them the Better Israel people.
They settled in the.
They called them Better Israel, or they called them Falasha.
They returned. Yeah.
Falasha is a negative term. It's like calling them the N-word, right? But they call them falashas.
Wow.
But if you go up to 2013, you will find that the Israeli government was secretly sterilizing African women in Israel to stop them from having babies. So then you want me to take a side of either people that have got a black town with black people disrespecting them and treating them bad, or you want me to take the side of the people who would sterilize black women secretly so they can't have any babies. I'm just going to step back and be like, you know what, you guys just do what you're doing. Do what you're doing. And that's like I said to you last time, Cerberus.
Do you know, I've seen, to anyone, you can probably find stuff yourself out there, you know, on both sides. There are people who are appealing for black people, anyone for sympathy, and they're using black people as a, they're using this whole dehumanization thing and saying that, black people, the Jewish people treat black people are racist towards black people. So I get that. I see a lot of this stuff where Palestinian people, the most learned scholars are out there trying to
say that Jewish people are,
that Jewish people are racist towards black people.
And act like the Muslims aren't?
And it's quite hypocritical.
Of course it's hypocritical.
It's like everyone is just playing.
They're trying to use us as pawns in their game. The Arab Muslim has let me say never. The history of Arab Muslims in Africa, we spoke about it last time. They came into Africa. They're still doing it today. In Sudan, right now, there is a genocide going on. The Muslim Arabs are killing African people, raping the women in the name of Islam. They call them the Janjaweed, right? And groups like that
what are we doing
doing
about it, though?
Nothing. And then I would say, are either the Palestinians talking about it, or the Israelis talking about it? No. But they want us to talk about their plight. They want us to be friends with I'm not saying don't be friends with people, but you want us to take on your plight, but you don't take on black plights. You don't. Which is fine, because you've got your own, but don't expect us as black people to take on yours. I don't think that's fair.
And so it makes us seem as if we are inhuman because we're not understanding of their plight. But
they try to always
historical plight that's never going to end.
It's been going on.
And we've got, to be fair, in terms of black people, we've got such a fight. And that's why I can't really I can't do anything to change it. But what I can do is to try to think about the mindset of young black people and black people in our society today who are struggling and need direction. And unfortunately, they are being groomed into these faiths. Do you know what I mean? And to think a certain way. And then as a result, they're forgetting about. They think that by becoming Muslims, it means that they now have a direction. But then they're going to go back they're going to read the books and find out what everyone else finds out. It's like, look what happened in Africa. They were enslaving black people. So that's going to create.
They're still doing it.
Yeah, and that's going to create, that's going to play dissonance. It's going to do cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
So it's nothing. It's like. They have to there's got to be a pathway for black people where if it's not violence, by joining gangs, it's not following gang culture to be able to have this macho kind of attitude, and not seeing people like yourself and me as the enemy when we're offering them knowledge. Knowledge that was saying, be an individual, you have to find your own way. You have to find your way out because everyone else is pushing you into following a group where you're going to get caught along the sea.
Yeah.
Rather than being able to find stuff out for yourself, be yourself, find your way through life, build your own future, and not be trapped in this idea of what blackness is. Because it isn't anything.
Great, I totally agree with you there.
It isn't anything.
Totally agree with you.
You know, it's like blackness is freedom. And the minute you wake up and realise that, you know, and for me, I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand that it really is. Once you, that's why I don't get tied into the whole slavery thing. It doesn't mean it's not there. I'm very much aware of it. But I'm like, well, I'm not a slave now, and I'm never going to be a slave.
Don't let it define you.
Exactly. I'm not a slave now, and I'm never going to be a slave. So that's it. And if you work together, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything's possible. Work together.
I think on a positive, right? I think the mindset of a lot of people that I've been speaking to of late, in maybe the last 15 years, is starting to change. I think a lot of black peoples are realizing, hang on a minute, this ain't the way. The way we're going, this ain't the way. However, the only schism is that a lot of them aren't vocal enough to say, you know what, guys, I don't think that is the right way to go. A lot of the time we're scared because we've got family members and people that we know who think this way. I think there's going to be a mental schism and shift when it comes to black people. There's going to be a mental schism and shift. And what's going to happen is that these people that are on the nonsense, right, are going to be there. And the people that want better are going to be your Ibrahim Traore types, right, who want to, you know, forward countries and, you know, do things for the people are going to be here. And the people that once were the voice, the loudest voice, are going to be left behind. That's what I personally think.
I reckon so too. And it's a worry. It is. Do you know, I was talking to a very amazing black family just yesterday. Amazing black family. They were Nigerian. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the guy. Forgive me. Apologies if I've got your country of origin wrong. But I think they were Nigerian and really educated, private school. The children go to private school, all that kind of stuff. And you know, and I was talking about slavery with them and things like that, and talking about the mire that people from the Caribbean seem to be in. Not the Caribbean, I say, people who've come to the UK are in. Because I don't think people in the Caribbean are in that same mire. Like, yeah, people have left and come into England and kind of got that little confusion, like, oh my God, where do we belong? Displacement, you know, identity crisis, whatever it is, you know, feeling that they don't belong anywhere. Because when you come to the UK and your neighbours like know their history, they're talking about my grandfather lived down there, my grandfather was worked in that place, and you haven't got any of that, it can be discombobulating for you. But we're just talking about stuff, and they just said to me, like, you know, they don't have those problems because of the fact that they know, like you say, they know who they are. So the African community does not have our problems. Yeah. So, you know, so in many ways, I don't know. I mean, I had problems. Don't get me wrong, guys. I had problems, right? I was in gangs. I've got ADHD. I struggled. You know, schools weren't easy on me. The teachers weren't easy on me. I had problems. I had colorism issues with black people. You know, but my African friends did not have these problems, and they made it seem like they had the problems and they were part of the same issues, but they weren't. They didn't have the same problems because these problems are mental. And, you know, and that's really it. So, you know, I don't want to say that. The Caribbean, this issue is a Caribbean, well, a Western Caribbean problem. And maybe even an American.
Talking about over here.
The mentality of feeling, the whole thing, the whole gang thing, the whole issues are going on. I said to you, this lovely lady and her daughter, they were completely free of these issues.
Amazing.
Do you know what I mean? That's not, listen, they're doing well, they've got a goal, they know where they're going, nothing's going their way. Both of them, one's a doctor, the mother's a doctor. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So it's that whole middle class thing. It's about, that class thing is very much a real thing within the African community. It's a less of a thing within the, I mean, in terms of the positive impacts of being middle class in the UK and being from the Caribbean background, I think we've still got a lot of the hang-ups. We've got to kind of find our way through.
But then if you look at the migration of the Caribbeans here during the Windrush, right? The Windrush generation, my grandma, my granddad came here, right? And they already had I think they had just one more child here. I think they've already had the rest in Jamaica. So they brought my mum and her siblings over. And They came pre-NHS, pre-job centre, pre-free anything, and they buckled down, and they worked, and they paid their taxes, and they bought their house, and they grafted. Yeah, and what that done is that instilled a work ethic into all of their children. So all of my aunts and uncles all had good jobs, blah blah blah. My family in general, I'm not gonna lie to you, in general, from all of that lineage, from all of the aunts and the uncles and the cousins, blah blah, they've all got a work ethic, right, in this country. So it's funny for me when I see other people's migrating to this country and getting free stuff and having no work ethic. And I'm saying to myself, this is what I say to myself, it's going to sound controversial.
Unfair as well. It's unfair as hell.
What kind of migration is this? I'm like, because people say, oh, their countries got messed up by the UK. I said, what, you think Jamaica didn't? What, you think Africa didn't? The Africans and the Caribbeans got messed up by the European countries. And then they came here and they said, all right, we got to buckle down, guys. We got to work. For rightly or for wrongly, whatever it is, they done it. And I don't see myself, if I'm honest, I don't see myself in the new immigration that's happening in this country today. I just don't see myself in it. I don't see my peoples in there, if that makes sense. The people that are coming on the boats and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, you see, because my grandma and granddad did come on a boat. It was called the Windrush. It was a ship, by the way, right? But when they got here, they were like, all right, cool, time to buckle down. It wasn't, oh, let me go and get some free stuff.
Hey, well, so what do you think about when you see, because this is another thing, there's a lot of charity within the European community, and I love that. But sometimes I think to myself, I see sometimes some people go online and they're talking about, oh, we were all migrants, we were all migrants once, the North Seas, and then the Vikings came and they were migrants, and do you know what I mean, and things like that. So why are we all upset about what's going on with migration today, kind of stuff, right? We should all be happy for migrants to come here. And I look, man, I love everyone, and that sounds ridiculous because I don't love all the bad people, not at all. Don't get confused when I say I love people. I love good people. But that you can't. I don't think you can compare the migrants, today, like you said, with the people that you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? It's a very different type. So when people are sitting there trying to defend migration by saying we were all migrants, there's a different type of migration going on now. The migration now is all crazy migration in terms of people. Look, I don't remember hearing about young men, going out on the street and approaching young girls. What's a young man mean? Like 22-year-old man approaching a 12-year-old girl. Going online, people being here for 6 days, and then basically they're already online trying to groom young girls. I mean, you didn't hear, these things weren't happening back then, right?
You have to ask yourself what the motivation for you to come here is. That's all. Because my grandma and granddad,
type of migration.
The psychological motivation was to come here. So it all comes out in what happens when you do. If your psychological, if I say I'm going to move to Botswana next week, what am I moving there for? What's my psychology when I'm moving there for? Am I going there to get girls? Or am I going there to flee because there's something going on here? Or am I going there to try and work and buckle down and try and make a life for myself? It all depends on the mentality. And I said, the mentality of the people that are coming over, you got to ask yourself, what's their mentality when they come over here? What do they want? What do they plan to do?
Well, based on what I've seen, and I could present any time. I'm going to make a video, but I think it would be too hard hitting, to see stuff, because a lot of people think that what's Mark Curtney's agenda? Why am I making this video which shows repeated situations where men are going around grooming and being caught in the act of trying to groom young girls? So many, right? I'm not saying all migrants are doing that, not at all. But clearly there's a definite disrespect for the people in the West here. When we came to the UK, we didn't disrespect. We didn't have a lack of respect. You just outlined how black people love white people.
They do.
So we didn't have that. Whereas I'm seeing videos. I've never seen anything like it where you've got such friction. It's not racism, it's friction. These people aren't racist. The people who are responding, they're not racist towards those Muslim men or Asian, whatever they are. There's a friction because of the behaviour.
Let me tell you something. You probably knew as well. Racism was the Teddy Boys.
Yeah.
Racism,
Teddy boys, skinheads. I never really. I was never older. They were
my granddad's age.
Yeah.
But he told me, the Teddy boys. The racism was the BNP. The racism was the NF, where black people were really fighting for their lives amongst these people. These people ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
They ain't got to worry about real racist gangs who are doing they ain't got to worry about that. But when they say, oh yeah, you know what, you should know. Well, no. What my people went through is not the same as what your people are going through. So please do not try and compare them. I don't care what anyone says. People say, oh, but that's controversial because they're just, I don't care. They are not going, Kendrick Lamar said what? They're not like us. They're not like us. I don't know why we're trying to act like they are, because they're not. What they're going through, their plight, is not like our plight. The only thing that they have in common is that they have maybe melanated skin, that's it. But their plight, not the same as my grandma, my dad's, and my mum's. It's not the same plight. My mum and my dad had to graft. They never got no free stuff. What do you mean? Like, they just go somewhere like, hey, I want some free stuff, please. Okay, here's a house, and you can put your whole family in there, and you can get some money every month. That is really not the same stuff that happens.
There's so much more involved in it as well, though, because what I'm finding, it doesn't take much to imagine, but you're seeing, and you will see a lot of people have, lots of people have come over illegally. Where have they gone? They've kind of vanished into certain communities. They vanish into communities.
Yeah.
So those people will be exploited. People would exploit them. Like, I'm running Cluster View, right, with a tiny team. But if you can have cheap labour come in and help you, I could trade up.
A lot of them are, what's it called?
People are making a lot of money from exploiting.
Delivery drivers, apparently.
Yeah. So, what I mean is, these communities are exploiting these people, and they're making a lot of money for themselves by exploiting those people. So it's benefiting only certain groups. It's not going to benefit people of colour to any degree whatsoever. If anything, what we're actually introducing to the UK is more racism, because you've got people that don't respect us based on what we've learnt about, Islam and everything else. We're starting to realise that there's a lot of disrespect towards people of colour.
Yes.
So how is that going to benefit the black people living here? How is that going to benefit me? All I care about is positive change. So anything that impedes that, anything that comes in. So I never imagined, I always thought that we are going to find our way through stuff. Integration is going to happen. We're going to become this wonderful country that's going to really
sing
really
Kumbaya around the campfire.
Sing Kumbaya around the campfire, productive, we're all going to be kind of happy. It's all worked out, because it was happening. It was happening. People were pushing for stuff. Stephen Lawrence, his passing created a lot of changes for people of colour. Do you know what I mean? There's been a lot of support and things have been making sense. They've looked at things in terms of criminology, how to manage, so we don't exactly look at people of colour and think they're all criminal, right? So we're taking things in, we don't mention even the colour or race anymore. It's benefited us, but it's now benefiting, people who are coming here now and the crimes they're committing, because they're not mentioning, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they want to undo all the work that was done, because they're not mentioning the race. They're not mentioning the religion. It's against that now. So we've done all this work, and now it's been all that work, all that stuff, all the change that we have happened. It's all been undone, or we need to undo it, just so that we can identify this new form of migration, which has actually not been positive. It's caused more damage than good, as far as I'm concerned. Black insecurities in white spaces. I think there's a real issue with. I think one of the big problems we have is that black people are insecure in white spaces. What's your thoughts on that?
The reason why black people are insecure in white spaces,
so you agree, do you?
To some degree, is because they know a lot of the time they're not wanted sometimes. They're tolerated. I actually wrote a film, and one of the lines in there is like, black people are like pigeons. They're just tolerated. No one really likes pigeons. It's like you see them, it's like, oh, it's pigeon. They're there, they're not going anywhere. Right? That's what black people are like.
Do you know how much you're going to upset a lot of black? You're going to upset so many black people right now.
Black people are like pigeons.
You're going to have to leave some positive advice for them before.
All I'm saying is that a lot of the time I say black people feel like pigeons. They know you can't get rid of them. Yeah, you can't get rid of them.
That's so black people like foxes.
They're like foxes.
Exactly, because we're like,
you can't get rid of them.
You know, we're tough. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Nah, they're like pigeons. They can't get rid of them, right? And people just throw them some crumbs from time to time. Oh, look, the pigeons.
To appease us.
To appease you. Oh, look, yeah, free the pigeons. Oh, isn't it cute? The pigeons are cute.
I wish they were appeasing me.
Right? And then it's like, okay, yeah, the pigeons are around. And that's a lot of the time that I think. So I think a lot of the time, black people maybe feel insecure in white spaces.
That's a word that's been coined now. People, during COVID, everyone talking about white spaces. Never heard that term before.
Well, the thing is, I don't have a problem with there being white spaces on a different note. I don't have a problem with there being Asian spaces or black spaces or Chinese spaces. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think everyone has to always be in each other's space.
But it's nice that we feel that
I think there are spaces where everyone can mingle, but sometimes things are not for us, and only the Chinese know. Sometimes, do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes things are just for the Russians, and only the Russians know.
But they're happy. But they're happy for that,
right? Exactly.
But we are in the same way happy for that.
No, but what did I say? I said last time. I said black people want to be everyone's friend, don't they?
But also, we need everyone. We can't do it on our own.
Who? Black people need everyone. Yes. Everyone needs everyone.
Puff Daddy might not need everyone, but trust me, no, he may not have the wealth. Kanye West, but most black people, we need people.
Yeah, because you want to build something, so you're going to have to negotiate. You're going to have to learn to, find yourself in different rooms, etc.
We're not at the top.
Listen,
of the ladder.
we're at.
So accept that reality.
Listen, because the thing is, I don't want to be some woe is me type thing. It's like the black people need to be more secure within themselves.
That's right. That's the whole point. That's the point.
Do you know what I'm saying? They need to be more secure within themselves. And if we're more secure within ourselves, then we'll get more done. That's it. Because I've always said, when it comes to networking, what did we do? I always talk about don't network up, network sideways. Because you've got someone next to you that you probably are not utilizing, that probably can do some stuff and you can get some stuff done. What we tend to do is try to network up. We're like, oh my God, look, there's Kanye West, or look, there's someone, and we try to network up, and it's not realistic. Network sideways. You've got your actual people beside you. You're not, but all of you have got the same mentality that you need to network up. You become the up when you network sideways, and then you create something, and everyone's looking at you like, oh my God.
That's right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
I like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so just network sideways and become more secure in networking sideways, not networking up. That's what I would say.
Brilliant. So that's the advice you're going to leave for everyone?
Yeah, network sideways, guys. We can do a lot better than what we're doing if we look around and get the people next to us who are doing the things that we want. Do you know what I mean? We have to create our own. And to create your own, just look left, look right, go into your phone book, go into your Facebook friends, go into your Instagram friends, go into your TikTok friends. You've got people around you, you're just not utilizing them. That's all it is.
And I would say you don't have to stay in a box. There's such a wide, how can I say, there's so much, a plethora of things to digest intellectually and to learn. And when I talked about white spaces, people being insecure going to white spaces, that sometimes there's a lot of things in those white spaces that you can garner. So to limit yourself to a space thinking just because you are from a certain community you can only mix with your own community, that means you're not, you just, as I said, he talked about going left to right, but sometimes the people on the right are not the right people for you, so you need to find another way, and it's not always in your community. That's all I can say. Hope all the best, guys. All my love to you all. God bless. And once again, let's talk life with Sarah, Garvey, Mark Anthony Abel. It's been an absolute pleasure, Sarah. Thank you for everything, your explanations and stuff. We appreciate it. Any more comments, we'd appreciate those comments too. And we'll speak to you. Hopefully there might be another one.
Never know.